We've got a zeal, who Mesut Ozil. I just don't think you understand.
I just don't think you
He's just a fingers man.
He's
better
He better
We've
We've
got
got
Ozil together now.
Join in, Kenny.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to join him because the thing is,
I remember you singing that song, Kenny, at first in the first few months.
No, the thing about
it as well.
Not at all. I think for a football fan like myself and someone who's followed Mesut Ozil's career, you know, I've mourned Mesut Ozil for 3 years before this happened. The Mesut Ozil I know isn't the player that is played for us on a consistent basis. So it's a sad time for me. He's fallen out of love with football. So in terms of like what's happened, it's been a long time coming. I think there's a lot of people who have interpreted what Per Mertesacker said, where he basically left it open to like I said, agendas. You know, the agenda that Mesut Ozil's fallen out of love with football, and the agenda that the club have been forced the manager to leave him out. So there's two agendas, and Per Mertesacker has played a game of chess, and you know has basically seen which agenda says checkmate.
Yep, I agree. Save them thoughts on Ozil because
we know
bit.
Well, let's do it, Lisa, and save it. But I think that
we'll save it for now. We'll save the Ozil bit till later. Yeah, but before we get into it, welcome back to the show. Anyway, appreciate it, and I've alerted the followers of the channel that we are going to be making this a regular thing. Chig will be joining us as well going forward into next month. So this is going to be a regular show, and I'll be appearing on Kenny and Claude's show. You need to get a channel, Kenny.
No, not at all. I think what's happened is it's very time consuming, and it's a young person's market. Another thing as well is that you have to be very, very thick-skinned to part of it, and because you want to be professional, but when people like I said make comments, and 9 out of 10 times they're not constructive at all. They're personal. You know, any human being's going to bite, and I think I admire the hard work that you're both doing from afar, and it's not just you. Every person who's doing it. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and most important, a lot of balls as well to do it. So I can only admire what you're doing. But for me, I just I'm an old man now. I'm 48, and I want to just sort of go to the gym, go running when they're open. Yeah, I know, but I still want to keep fit. I still want to keep fit though, Claude.
Let's go back to the game at the weekend. We obviously lost to Man City 1-0. Let me start with Claude. What did you make of the game? Because I've seen a lot of people saying it was an improvement. We weren't that bad. Man City, we kept it down to 1-0. What did you make of it? Because I've said my bit on here. Everyone knows my thoughts. What did you think of it, mate? Claude?
I don't know. I just can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Can you hear me all right? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make. I think it was a very, very negative performance. It looked to me that we went out there just to keep the score down, or if you could put it another way, keep it down to about 85 minutes and snatch a draw or something like that. Very much like the Liverpool game in a way, but like we gave the opposition far too much respect. I thought his team plan, whatever plan that was, I don't know where it's come from. To play Willian in that role when we got a top goal scorer on the bench and another striker on the bench is baffling, to say the least. And in the end, going forward, we weren't going forward at all. We had no creativity, which we know we haven't got anyway. We had Thomas Partey coming on after 82 minutes. Maybe I can understand if he doesn't start, but at least bring him on 50, 60 minutes to try and change the game. Wouldn't have hurt. And I just don't understand his tactics. What's one iota? And I don't understand the continuation of picking Bellerin either, because I think Maitland-Niles is much more better and will give us better way forward than what Hector Bellerin. So overall, I'm not happy at all. And I get annoyed when people tell me, well, you're not allowed to criticise the manager, you're not allowed to criticise this. It's like, get behind the manager, get behind this, get behind, stop criticising, get behind this. No, you've got to criticise when it's not right. It's like you turn up, if you're in a working environment, I want my boss to tell me where I'm going wrong. Yep. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We've got to be honest and say it as it is. And the last bit, and I'll go on, is that he comes out and says in 4 years he's not seen a team come to Man City, or 2 weeks beforehand, Leicester knocked 5 past him. So where's he coming out with this rubbish? I mean, no, it baffles me, and I'm still back. And there's people in the chat, and is it me or am I the only one that noticed about Leno the other night? The mistake by Leno, putting a goalkeeper has got surely to parry it to the side and push it in the middle like he done. And I said no one picked up on that. I was quite surprised no one picked up on that the other night.
See, the thing with Man City, like I said this on the stream last night when I was doing the watch along for the game last night, and I said if you go and have a look at our performance against Liverpool in the Community Shield, and then go and have a look at the performance against Liverpool at Anfield the other night, yeah, then you go and have a look at the semi-final against City, and then watch straight after that the game the other night against City, yeah, in the league at the Etihad. It's chalk and cheese. Why do they turn up at Wembley and then not at their grounds? And for me, it's because they've got this, oh, well, it's a trophy on the line. Yeah, and it's, oh, we'll have a bit of a go. They know they're not as good as Liverpool. They know they're not as good as City. Both of them teams know they're better than us. But we've proven we can beat these teams when we want to beat them. Mm. Yeah, and that is the problem, you know, when we want to beat them. And that is why the last manager ended up getting potted, because they down tools. The manager before that, they down tools constantly for him. And that's why he ended up going as well. He'll go because they'll do the same for him at some point. They already looked like some of them had already done that the other day. Just to pick you up out on Leno's save, I actually don't think that's his fault. Right. And the reason I don't think that's his fault, before I come to Kenny, when you watch that back, Bellerin obviously went walkabout and just run straight past Foden. Yeah. I think he's still running now. And then you've got David Luiz. You can't fault David Luiz's position. Yeah. He was helping out. He was covering his man. Fair enough. It was a decent bit of play from Foden. It weren't enough to make Bellerin go skipping off over there. David Luiz, there weren't a lot he could do. Ceballos probably didn't even know Aguero was behind him, but he was in half-tidy position. Then you see Gabriel, probably didn't have a clue where Sterling was, but then I think he may have been caught in two minds. Do I go back on the line or do I stick with Sterling? Yeah, do I try and narrow the angle for the shot from Foden? I don't know. But then when you look at the other 3 players, you had Tierney, Xhaka and Saka. They're jogging. Yeah, not one of them smelt danger to go, yo, he's on his own over there with Sterling behind him. Does he even know he's there? None of them communicated with Gabriel. None of them were busting their nuts to get back to help him. And I think I think it was Xhaka, I might be wrong, it might have been Tierney, but I'm sure it was Xhaka, actually stopped running in the end. Because he was like, oh, well, that's it, they're going to have a shot. And he stopped. I think it was Xhaka, it might have been Tierney, but none of them 3 got back into the box. And when you look at when we played against them at Wembley, there was never that gap. They were always close together, midfield and defence. Yeah. So when you look at it from the save point of view, yeah, it weren't the best of saves. But then I criticised him for the save at Anfield where he had rubber wrists. Yeah, and it went straight to Mane. If he had done that in this game, they wouldn't have scored. So I don't necessarily blame. I see what you're saying, but I don't necessarily blame him. I blame that midfield for jogging back. If they'd run back properly, they'd been in the box and might have stopped Sterling anyway.
Your instinct should be to push it aside, not to push it.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. He should have done better, but I don't think he's the biggest issue for me.
Big percentage of the chance no one will get on there. I mean, we'll have a different angle, wouldn't it? But if he's pushed right in the middle, he's got a straight shot and goal.
I put a picture up the other day, and there was 8 of our players, including the goalkeeper, in the shot. Yeah, in the still picture, 3 of them, Saka, Tierney, Xhaka. Then you had the goalkeeper, Ceballos, Luiz, Bellerin, and Gabriel. They had Aguero, Sterling, who scored, and Foden. How's that a goal? You know, it's shocking. But what do you think, Kenny? What did you make of the game?
No, I think the thing is, right, the thing about it is I try as much as my feelings on Arteta. I think the job's probably come too early for him. I try to be fair to him, and I try to understand why he selected the team, why he does. And the thing it's blatantly obvious to me, he doesn't trust his midfield. That's why he plays a back five. He's scared of the fact that that he's not able to impose his game and for us to dominate possession. Hence the fact we're a counter-attacking side, and that's how he shapes up. I don't know what's happened with Lacazette or Eddie Nketiah, but whether people like it or not, the boss trusts Willian. Willian's specific job was to be when we didn't have the ball was to be the first line of the press. Now, whether we like it or not, that's how it looked to me. Do I agree with it? I thought it was a bit strange, but we're going to have to get used to watching Arsenal home and away, especially in the Premier League, until who knows whether Partey comes good or not. But I like to think that 4-3-3 is the future. But in terms of that game, what done me was the fact that Man City sussed us out because they weren't going to make that mistake that they made at Wembley, where we outpressed them and caught them off guard. And what they did at Wembley is they played a high line, but what's happened is that their players weren't close enough and pressing enough, so we were able to get the out ball and get those 2 goals. What Man City did really well on Saturday is that they still played the high line, but their midfielders and forwards got in our faces. You look at the goal that they scored, it was from a breakdown because they pressed us out of the game. And then Aguero was very clever where he took defenders out of the way. Now, I know you're saying that he weren't jogging back, but you've got to give Aguero credit the fact that he took players out of the position. Foden was very clever in spinning his run. Bellerin doesn't know whether to, go for Foden, whether to, help his centre halves out, help, get onto Aguero. What's happened now is that he's going to Foden. Foden's, because he's on his heels, Foden can cut in, have the shot, and players out of position. But again, it's what you said, I agree with Lee. It's not smelling the danger. But I think the biggest, talking point was our approach in the second half, because Man City managed the game from 45 minutes in that they were inviting us to come on, and we weren't taking the bait. You look at West Ham and Tottenham. Tottenham, when they beat Man United 6-1, second half, they managed the game, but looking for those sort of spaces for Man United to try and give them the spaces. With Man United having 10 men, they were able to exploit and make it 6-1. On Sunday, Tottenham, 3-0 up, did that, but West Ham were playing well, were on the front foot. And they got their just rules. Now, if Arsenal were on the front foot, instead of worrying about keeping their position, we could have had a go at City, and I think that's where you went wrong. You can't just be passive when your opposition are game managing the game. They were there for the taking in terms of trying to get that equaliser and see if we can get the winner. And I think until Arteta starts playing 4-3-3, until he trusts his midfield, you're going to see a lot of situations where you're going to see us playing a counter-attack, and you're going to see Aubameyang not playing at an effective level. You're going to see Pepe come. That is what you're going to see until Partey comes good and he gets a proper solid midfield, and that's what's really upsetting me about the result, is that we didn't have what Leicester City had or what Leeds had. Leeds were tactically braver when they played Man City. Thought, right, you're standing off. You're afraid of what happened against Leicester. We're going to go for you, and we're going to get in behind you. We know you're better than us, but it's the fourth game of the season. You know the big teams, when you play early doors, they're vulnerable because they're not at their fittest. So you go for them, and that's why you have lots of results like you had at Old Trafford and you had at Villa Park. Teams are not part of the welterweight club. Arsenal makes us trickier because Arteta has got the shackles on, because we got scars from the rubbish that we used to see. The other PlayStation goals we used to see under Arsene Wenger, and then we saw a bit under Unai Emery when he lost his bottle. And I think that's the problem. We've got to get the balance right between making ourselves difficult to beat, but being punitive on their counter-attack. Until that happens, we're going to see a lot of games where this is going to happen. We know now that regardless of whether Vardy's there or not, on Sunday, he's going to play a back five. Leicester are going to be in a front foot. Our goals that we're going to score against Leicester, if we score that is, are going to be counter-attacking goals like they were against West Ham, like they were against Sheffield United. This is a problem that I'm beginning to see, and I think a lot of fans are saying the same sort of thing. Let the shackles off Mikel. Try and be brave. Teams are there for the taking. Yes, you may get a bloody nose, but if you want to get the best out of your Aubameyangs, your Lacazettes, or your Pepes or Williams, get that midfield sorted.
No, mate, listen, I find it hilarious how, before we hired Arteta, some of us would have took Jose, including me. I would have took him. One of the things with Jose was that a lot of our fans said he parks the bus. It's boring, crap football. Yeah, it's kind of ironic how they've scored nearly double the amount of league goals this season. When he's gone shopping, he's had his transfer window, he's gone and got what he wanted, or pretty much all of what he wanted. And now, yes, they conceded 3 and they bottled it the other day. What a goal, by the way, from Lanzini. If you'll see a better goal this season, then it's going to be some hell of a strike, because that was unreal. The last minute of the game, it was literally last kick, wasn't it? He's never hit a ball so sweet in his life. But a lot of our fans said that we didn't want Jose because he's negative, it's boring, park the bus football. At least when he parked the bus, he used to get the results away against these teams. Yeah, we're parking the bus, but we're kind of semi-parking the bus. Go on, mate.
Can I pick up a point, Kenny? You said about you can understand the team selection to a certain extent. Yeah, but when he played Liverpool, he played Lacazette in the same sort of team plan, but he had Lacazette there, yeah? And he scored the goal, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Kenny's gone. Kenny's signal's dead.
I think it's happening to me a lot lately as well, so I don't know what's. I think it's something to do with StreamYard. But as I said, I wanted to put this point to Kenny when he played Liverpool, which was similar to the way they played against City. He played Lacazette in that. He played Lacazette in that role, yeah. So why play Willian there? And Lacazette scored against Liverpool, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken, was it Lacazette?
But this is the thing, Claude, right? You look at Lacazette, yeah, right. Last season, I thought he was shocking. Yeah, I really did. I thought the first season under Emery, I was like, wait, I'm actually really impressed. We were at the games, we were seeing him score against the big teams. He was running his socks off. He was working the channels, and him and Aubameyang had that real good partnership in that season under Emery. And we scored a lot of goals. I think we scored about 70 odd league goals that season, which was a massive improvement for us. Then last season, Emery kind of went away from doing what he did the season before with them two. Yeah. And then obviously he went. Then Freddie come in. And again, it was one or the other. And then Arteta's...
You can't really count Freddie.
No, he only had, 6 games, I think it was. We can't really count him. But I think 3 of them games under Freddie, I think Aubameyang was suspended anyway, wasn't he? And then obviously Unai Emery comes in. Arteta comes in. And now we're seeing Aubameyang constantly on the left, which, listen, I don't want to see him there. But if you're going to go with him on the left, for me, you have to go with a striker that's going to run him behind. Yeah, which is why we should have gone and got Werner or even Ollie Watkins. When you see them strikers, they're always on the shoulder of the last man. When you watch how we play, he's almost like a Firmino type of player. Link the play, don't have to score any goals, blah, blah, blah. You can't do that if you're playing counter-attacking football, because you're playing sit deep and then try and break quick. But then every time you're breaking quick, your striker's running back to the halfway line to get the ball to turn it around the corner. That ain't ever going to work. Right, so I understand why he put Willian up front the other day, because he will run behind. But then it makes it even more stupid that he didn't put Aubameyang there and put Willian on the left. Yeah, because it's like, well, you've got the goal scorer up front. the defenders are going to be more occupied with him than they are with Willian. Willian can do his little trickery down the left. You've got Pepe on the right.
That's my point. I didn't understand. That's why I couldn't understand. Because for the Liverpool game, he had Lacazette in that role. At least you got someone that, you know, it's better than playing Willian there, surely. But I mean,
guys, can I just cut in a bit? Sorry, because I just lost a thing. I think the conundrum we're talking about is Aubameyang up front. What you know, you guys got to ask yourself.
I didn't say that, Kenny. I said playing Lacazette down the middle like we did against Liverpool, rather than Willian. That's what I meant.
We don't know what's going on with in terms of like Alexander, because if you look what happened when Lacazette did come on, he was playing a sort of like how do I say, between the lines in midfield to try and, you know, release the ball for players to run into in the second half. So again, it's one of those things where when we went to Man City, it was like a defensive measure in terms of like what we were trying to do, because you know, with Man City and you know, if any coach knows Man City well, it's Mikel. Man City, you know, the point of Man City getting Edison goal, the point of him having players like Walker and you know, left backs, is because they want to be in a position to create attacks from any part of the pitch, preferably from an own goal. And what he wanted is he wanted the most disciplined player to try and stop those attacks, because if they did play between the lines, then we're going to get mullered. And I think that was his thinking. But
the thing is, Kenny, right. I mean, I don't particularly rate Lacazette that highly. I think he's all right. Yeah, he ain't going to win us a league, you know, that's for sure. But the one thing I'll say here, right, if you was Alexander Lacazette and you've scored against Fulham, you've then played against West Ham. Was it West Ham the second game? Yeah, scored against them. You've then gone to Anfield and scored. But then you play Sheffield United, you're sat on the bench. Why? You ain't got international duty. You're not away for 2 weeks playing for international football. You then come back from international duty after being benched after 3-3. You're then benched. I don't think Lacazette's ever started at the Etihad since he's been here.
Yeah, because that's right. Because he's scored a couple. I know he scored in his first season when he came off the bench when we lost 3-1. So again, it's something that you know you never know with Alexander. But the problem Alexander's always going to have until he starts scoring prolifically for us, then there was always going to be this problem. He's going to be left out.
The problem you then have with that is, do you want him to be prolific in scoring, or do you want him to run back to the halfway line to link the play to the wingers? Because it seems a little bit like he must be confused. Like I'm sticking up. He must be confused with it, because 1 week he's starting and he's scoring 3-3. Then he's benched against Sheffield United when we're crying out for goal against a team that hadn't scored any goals. And we park the bus and then we give him a goal, right? And then he has international duty or the international duty that he's not going on. Then he's benched for City. The last 2 times we've played City was June and Saturday. Eddie Nketiah and William were chosen over him. What must he be thinking with that? Especially coming back at 3-3.
I don't know. We'll have to say it's tactical. I don't think he's done anything wrong as such. It's just, you know, I think the Man City game screamed to me all about stopping them playing out from the back. You know, and who do you get? You get your most experienced player who's played in big names for our rivals across in West London, and that's it. You know, what we're going to find this season is that Arteta's got some lieutenants in his side, players who he trusts implicitly to carry out his instructions. Granit Xhaka, David Luiz, and William Bosch. Those are the 3 players that he's going to look to as players who he feels are going to carry out his instructions. And that selection screams that. And there was always going to be casualties because, you know, if we look at it from a tactical point of view, said, right, William Bosch, like I said, basically presses from the front, and then what will happen is when we do want to go in a counter, I've got the pace of Pepe on the right hand side, and I've got Aubameyang to run off him. And I think that was the plan. You know, maybe he didn't think Lacazette was able to carry on those sort of defensive instructions, and Willian could do it better. Or maybe he feels, at this moment of time, I need Willian in my team.
But see, this is the thing. When we signed Willian, I like Willian. I think Willian's an all right footballer. Yeah, I think he's pretty decent. But the idea was we were signing him as a backup. He weren't going to be the go-to guy, right? Yeah. He started every game, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he started. Can I just ask you a question, right? Has Nicola Pepe been consistent enough? Because at the end of the day, it's all about consistency.
Has he had a consistent run, though? That's the problem.
Yeah, but people say he has a consistent run. All right, the second question is, which I think is probably more important, are we dominating possession enough to enable Nicola Pepe to get into games and hurt the opposition? I beg to differ. I think what's happened when we do play Nicola Pepe, that he's coming off scraps. So what he's having to do is that we're asking him to be spectacular on scraps. Now, so when he passes it simple, what he does, we're saying, you know what? You know what? Oh yeah, he's not really been like adventurous enough. And then when he tries something adventurous and it don't come off, the opposition gets the ball back and they're on the attack. And that's the problem we've got. We don't dominate possession enough in order to play 4-3-3 and get the best out of players like Nicola Pepe. But with William Bosch, is that
you led me on to my next question? Funny enough, indirectly.
But William Bosch gives us balance when we don't have the ball. You can't. And at the end of the day, football's about balance, especially when in Mikel's teams.
It is, but I don't know, man. I just think that, and this is why I was going to come on to this next question. Let me start with Claude. Claude, from the squad we've got now, right now, the 25-man or 27-man, well, it's 25 now. We'll come to that in a minute. But what for you would be the preferred formation, and what would be the starting 11 for you week in, week out?
With the players we've actually got now at the moment. Do you take Smith-Rowe into consideration?
He's in the squad. Anyone from the squad? Just any 11.
4-2-3-1.
Okay, so obviously we know the goalkeeper's Leno. Who's your back four?
Back four would be. I'm going to go Maitland-Niles. We've got not much centre halves. We're not in really, because we've got injuries and we've got Chambers and Holding are now out injured. So you're going to have to go Maitland-Niles, David Luiz, Gabriel, Kieran Tierney. The two in the middle would go with Thomas Partey and that's the difficult one. The two in the middle, who I put with Thomas Partey.
Ceballos?
Probably Ceballos, yeah, probably. It's a toss-up really between Ceballos and Xhaka. I can't.
Okay, so the three.
The three I would go. I would go Pepe on one side, Saka on the other, in the middle, and I would go Smith-Rowe behind Aubameyang.
Okay.
But then Kenny don't like Aubameyang.
Right. If I go 4-3-3, reluctantly it's going to be Leno in goal. I'll like us eventually get a number one, but that's another show for which I'm sure you're gonna pick the beats off. Or if you do a monologue or you have people on the show, that's something else. But Leno's in goal. He's a man in possession. I'm going to go with a back four. My left back is Kieran Tierney. My centre halves are going to be left hand side Gabriel Magalhaes, right hand side David Luiz, and right back for me has to be Hector Bellerin. because I want the reason why I'm going Hector Bellerin is what I've got to give reasons for that. It's we balance. One thing apart from the aberration at Man City, defensively he has the penny is dropped with Hector. He is showing leadership. He's trying to get players into positions. For me, but I've got no problems with it defensively now. My frustrations now with Hector is that the things that I liked he's doing offensively, he's not doing them no more. Now maybe that could be because of knee injury or anything. But I want Hector Bellerin to get back to what I think he should be doing, because I want him to be playing like Doherty of Spurs and Alexander-Arnold, because I think if he plays like that, then I think we're going to be a better side. If he's no longer that player, then I want us to go and get players like Aarons from Norwich, who I feel that can give us that. But at the moment, I'm going for men in the possession, and I know it's hard to Maitland-Niles. I do understand that Maitland-Niles gives us a lot of stuff as well, but I'm just thinking about. Look, it's either I'm torn between the two, but because Bellerin is doing what I want him defensively, I'm going to have to just a little bit go for Bellerin, because my thing about Maitland-Niles, I have genuine concerns with him going forward in terms of like what he can give us. He's got the pace, he's got the athleticism, but it's if the final delivery for Maitland-Niles was to my liking.
But you genuinely think Bellerin's better than that? Like, real talk.
I really don't know, because I don't know how he's going to beat this injury. But it was very close between Hector and Maitland-Niles, because I still think that maybe they're the best out of a bad bunch, than both of them, in terms of what we want going forward. Because we're happy with Maitland-Niles in a defensive, in an athletic supporter's position, but Bellerin, you can't say that Bellerin hasn't done anything defensively. But it's a good debate to have. It's an excellent debate, and there are pros and cons for both players. Obviously, Maitland-Niles, because he's come in and done a fantastic job, got some man of the match awards, he's got international recognition. There's a massive argument for Ainsley to start, but I don't know. It's an hard one. Is he? But you asked me to make a choice.
You might laugh at my one with Smith Rowe, but I think he's a really talented player.
Yeah, but but you say he's a talented player. We're in the results business, and we need results now.
No.
Is he for now?
I tell you what, you've got to listen, right? You've got to give these players a run. If you don't give them a chance, you never know, do you?
But because Arsenal can ask, but Claude,
there are young players his age that have come through at his age and gone straight into the team, right? Gone straight in.
Have we got time for that, though?
Sometimes you've got to be brave and make. Yeah, but I'd rather see us make some sort of brave move than see us going sideways, backwards, sideways.
Let me jump in there real quick, right?
We're not winning matches now, are we, Kenny? Let's be honest with you, we're not going forward there at the moment, are we?
Remember last season when we threw Bukayo Saka in there? Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Look at what he's done. Yeah, I'm not saying Smith Rowe's the answer.
Yeah, but you haven't asked me in my first 11 yet. I've only got through.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go to midfield. Go on.
Yeah, in terms of
I was ripping you apart for your Bellerin pick, mate.
Yeah. I think the Bellerin thing caused a bit of conjecture in the chat room. But in terms of at my midfield, the midfield, Partey, and ideally, is going to be the player not just to construct. Destruct, but I want him to construct and start our moves. Xhaka, for me, is basically Arteta's trusted lieutenant. He likes him, and I think what Xhaka's been doing since he's got back in the side, and you probably don't agree with me, is that he helps his mates out. And what I mean by helping his mates out is that he's in positions where he's in positions to receive the ball, i.e. will come short or he'll go long and call for the ball. And one thing I did like what he did was in the semi-final and the final with Chelsea, when players were out of position, it was Granit Xhaka blocking the shots and covering for his mates. When Saka was playing left back, and I say that loosely because he was a lot of that position, it was Granit Xhaka who was going in left back to try and cover him. So in that respect, for me, these are the things I like. Because the thing with Granit Xhaka, and I think what we need to reset, we're asking Granit to be what he's not. We want Granit to be like like Thiago and Katara. He's not. We've got to remember what we've signed, and what Granit Xhaka is doing. He's actually giving us what we paid for. That's how he plays for Switzerland, and that's how he plays for thing. He's a long pass for the ball. He tries to read the game, and he gets in positions where he can receive the ball. He's not going to be playing that killer Pele pass. It's not going to happen.
But that why? Sorry to cut you off. Isn't that why we've signed Thomas Partey?
Well, we signed Thomas Partey to give us athleticism, because a lot of people, one of the worst words in football is, we need creativity, we need blah blah. Well, not true. Funny, right? Liverpool won the Champions League and the League Championship without a creative midfielder. What they did was play a 4-3-3 where they used their athleticism, strong running, simple passes, and basically their will to win the midfield battle, which enabled Alexander-Arnold to go down the right, Robertson to go down the right, and go down the left. So what they're doing is they're creating spaces for Salah and Mane to win, to operate from and hurt the opposition. They didn't have creativity. They could play the high line because they knew that their midfielders were going to come back in defence, and that because they pressed from the front, teams couldn't hit them on the counter-attack. They forgot that against Aston Villa, but that's how they won the league, and it's effective. You don't need a creative midfielder if you're dominating midfield, and basically you're pressing from the front and you're pressing as a team, and basically forcing the space down the flanks where you can open teams up. Where you've got a player like Firmino who makes himself unmarkable. That's how football is. There's very, very few creative players in football. So all this notion that we're probably going to come to as well regarding Mesut as well. We've got no creativity.
I'm waiting for you to now.
Hold on.
We can still. I think it's lazy for people to say, we've got no creativity. Hang on here.
Yeah, it is.
Liverpool had no creativity, and then I'm going to play Dani Ceballos, who's the man of position. In my front three, it's going to be a Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette in the middle, and then Pepe. If they play the way I want, in the side, and William Bojes can alternate between Pepe and things. They can alternate together for all I care. But I can understand why you go for Bojes. But in terms of Aubameyang, we need to stop this thing about Aubameyang playing down the middle. Aubameyang is not Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry is a footballer's footballer. Thierry Henry can play with his back to goal. Thierry Henry can hold the ball up. Thierry Henry is an assist man. Thierry Henry can play down the channels. Aubameyang is one of the best goal scorers I've ever seen, but he's not a Thierry Henry. He can't play with his back to goal. He can't hold the ball up. Let's put him where he can be effective. Let's get him in the left-hand side. He can run into spaces, get shots and goals, scores his 30 goals. Why fix something that isn't broken? I don't understand why people want him as centre forward when you're going to kill Aubameyang. When he first came to the club, North London derby at Wembley and in the League Cup final against Man City, we played him at centre forward. It was a disaster. He couldn't play with his back to goal. He couldn't hold the ball up. So the ball kept him coming back.
I'm going to give you my 11.
What defeats your argument is that Bellerin is no Alexander-Arnold, and and also,
neither's Maitland-Niles.
He's probably more likely to be in a catwalk 11 than a Premier 11.
Yeah, but neither's Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles is not Maitland-Niles.
No, but at least Maitland-Niles has got the physicality and can defend.
Yeah,
he can't attack. But Bellerin.
But one of the things that we were complaining about was our negativity in terms of our play. So we want someone who's going to get into those sort of positions where they're not just going to be putting crosses in, but they're actually going to be in positions where they can affect the play and maybe have a few shots and goal. So I think that's where we're looking at.
My 11, Leno, back 4, not 5. We ain't playing this defensive Jose football, right? Tony Pulis football. Make the Niles right, Tierney left, Gabriel, and then any one of 3. Saliba, Louise, or Holding. I ain't fussed either one. Yeah. We don't know how good Saliba is. We've seen Holding. We've seen Louise. Whatever. Midfield, Thomas Partey and Danny Ceballos as a 3. Or a 2, sorry. With one sat in front of them, like Liverpool's 3. But I'm going to go for now with players that are fit. I'm going to go with Willian at the peak of them 3. Right? We see against Sheffield United when he did that, we were starting to get more space. Right? Yes, they were chasing the game, but that's irrelevant. Left-hand side, Saka. Right-hand side, Pepe. Up top, I'm going Aubameyang.
Okay.
I'm going to come to why I'm putting Aubameyang up front, right? When Martinelli is fit, Willian sits back down, Saka sits at the peak of the 3, and you put Martinelli left. The reason I'd put Aubameyang up front is because if you want to play away from home, we're going to sit a lot deeper. Even with a 4, you can still do that properly. And then you want to spring an attack. You've now got one of the best guys in the world with movement off the ball in Aubameyang. Yeah, he's going to occupy 2 centre-backs, no matter whether it's Van Dijk and Matip, Laporte and Diaz, whoever it may be. The best centre-backs in the world, when Aubameyang stood in between the pair of them, they're both going to stay there. Yeah. If you're putting Lacazette there, he's 5'9". He's up against 6'4" big lads. They're just like, oh, well, you go forward, I'll mark him. Then you've got the trickery and pace with Saka or Martinelli, whoever's there at the time, who can whip balls in for fun. With the movement of Aubameyang, he's going to score a fucking hatful. Pepe would get probably more space on the counter-attack. Yeah, and he'd have a willing runner in Aubameyang rather than somebody who wants to come short all the time. I think that's got something. I think that's got pace. It's got power. It's exciting. It's got dribbling ability. It's got crossing. It's got movement. But not only that, without the ball, you know that Saka or Martinelli are going to run back that way from left wing. You know, maybe not Pepe, but you've got Maitland-Niles, who's a bit more solid defensively. You've got Partey and Ceballos. Both of them, I think, could be all right. But then if you are winning a game, in a big game, you could then bring Granit Xhaka on and take off a Pepe, for example, and change the formation and go with 4 in a diamond or whatever you want to do. You could go 4-4-1 or 4-1-4-1. Yeah, and you could have Xhaka pinging the ball as a sweeper or whatever. You could even move David Luiz into a sweeper position. I think that would be so much better than this dross we are watching now, where we're isolating one of the best strikers in Europe. Yes, he's been great. Yes, he's scored loads of goals. But come on, he can't dribble. His pace ain't as quick as people think it is. Johnny Evans caught him up last season. Come on. Yeah, Johnny Evans is my age, right? I just think that if you put him in the box, and when you see where Aubameyang scores most of his goals, he's in the box. The goal against Chelsea, the movement off of Emerson was unbelievable. I like Aguero. I think Aguero is one of the best strikers I've ever seen. Yeah, that boy is unbelievable. He ain't got the movement of Aubameyang. Yeah, if he had Aubameyang's movement, it'd be even better. But Aubameyang hasn't got the long-range screamer from 35 yards. He ain't got the flick headers that Aguero's got. Aubameyang is what he is. Yeah, he's an instinctive, quick finish striker. Yeah, I don't like. Sometimes he'll take the little run and he'll finesse one in. But if you get him in and around the box, instinctive, bang, he knows where to stand. He knows where to pull off. I don't think Aguero's quite got that in movement. And Vardy, if you compare him to Vardy, Vardy's quicker than him, I think. But Vardy's an off-the-shoulder guy as well. Let's play to Vardy's strengths. Yeah, we don't play to Aubameyang's strengths, which is why we play with Lacazette up front and try and accommodate a Lacazette or a Willian up front by putting our best striker, one of the best in Europe, on the fucking wing. Would Leicester play Vardy on the wing? They wouldn't, would they?
Well, they did at first. They did under Pearson. They did under Pearson. He was coming.
Yeah, he got sacked. He got sacked.
Vardy was still effective, though. Vardy was still effective. I think that in terms of Lacazette, for the team, he's still scoring 30 goals a season.
But if you put him up front and play to his strengths, he'd score more. 100%. If I'll give you an example, right? Take Firmino out of Liverpool. Would they put Salah or Mane up front? They wouldn't. They'd put Origi up front.
God help them if they do that.
If Jurgen Klopp, let me ask you this, yeah? If Jurgen Klopp was Arsenal manager, would Aubameyang be left wing?
I don't know, because I think that if Pep Guardiola was Arsenal manager, I think he would be left wing. because he was playing that.
Form, Pep's better.
Wasn't he playing there for Dortmund though?
No, see, this is the thing. A lot of people say this. Aubameyang played mainly up front or on the right wing for Dortmund.
All right.
Yeah, he played a lot on the right wing. Yes, he plays left wing. He can play all three positions.
Yeah.
But if you look at where he scores the majority of his goals, he's in the penalty box.
Yeah, but isn't he coming from like one of those sides? And the thing about it is that, all right, what I am going to give our coach credit when he does play in that front three on the attack. It is like reversible and interchangeable. He doesn't actually is the position there. They all change positions. Where sometimes you do see Pierre on the right or the centre. So they all do that in that.
Yeah, but that was the problem for me, Kenny, at the weekend is that Willian stayed up front, and was dropping back into midfield, right? If I was Aubameyang, I would have been saying to the manager and to Willian, you go out on the left wing for 10 minutes, I'll go up top. They never did that. And then when Aubameyang started floating in midfield in centre a little bit, he set Saka up for the chance. If that was roles reversed, I'm not having a dig at Saka, it was a hard chance. Like he had a split second. If that was the other way round and Saka feeds that to Aubameyang, that's a goal. Yeah, that's a goal. Let me read these 3 super chats out real quick because I've missed all 3 of them off the screen. Big fan from Bay Area. Would you ever consider doing UFC watch along? This weekend's going to be a good fight. Justin, I can't pronounce his name, versus Khabib. I don't watch UFC, if I'm honest, mate, and it's on way too late for me. I watch it every now and again, but Chig does it. Kenny does every now and again as well. But thank you for that, mate. Appreciate it. Anthony also says, Ken, mate, a lot of time for you, fella, but playing Bellerin over Maitland-Niles. Yeah,
I fully respect what you said. I respect that. It's a hard one because, they've both got qualities, but they've both got deficiencies as well for me.
No, that's true. No, they have. But listen, Bellerin, bruv, I can't have that humanitarian as fucking right back in this club. Big up Arsenal man as well. It says, Claude, is Leno any good? Every time going short.
No, I don't like. I don't. I wanted Martinez to stay until at least January.
Same.
Okay?
Same. Let's move on to
that known star, and he's taken his comment away now. But he goes in my chat, and he won't be coming in my chat anymore either.
What's he said?
What's he said? You listen to these 3, it's embarrassing. He won't be coming in my chat. He's a regular in my chat, and I've got you monitored there, mate. I tell you.
Look, Claude, don't give.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry.
Good fight.
He's all nice in my chat. He's all nice and pie, and he's coming saying I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, but like I said, just let's enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's keep it positive.
Let's move on to Lord Mesut. Let's go Claude first. What's your thoughts on Mesut Ozil not making the Premier League squad, Claude?
Well,
I am listening. I'm just going to go and top up. I am listening.
I don't know why there's a shock about this because, to be honest with you, this was on the cards anyway. It's the biggest open secret going, isn't it? That he was not going to be in the 25. No, I'm not shocked. The only thing I'll say, and Kenny and you disagree with me, it's up to you. But I say this is a political decision. To me, I think he's not the player he was. He was at Real Madrid. I think he's not good enough now to play for Arsenal. But I'm saying Arteta did not make that decision. The decision was made by the board because he didn't take the pay cut in the summer and before the lockdown. Because if you notice, before the lockdown, he was in Arteta's plans. And it's strange that after the lockdown, he didn't take the pay cut. He's suddenly not in the squad. And also, he's been training hard, training well, and he's still not getting in. So, not even on the bench. And don't tell me, even if we think he's really poor, not able to get in the first team, he's definitely good enough to be on the bench. Let's face it. So, I think it's a bold decision. I think now we should just pay the man's contract up. And let's get him out of the club. And I've got no more to say than that. Just get him out of the club. I think why bother bringing him into training, making him train, When you're not going to bother playing him anyway. So what's the point? You might as well send him home, let him play on Fortnite for the rest of the season. Enjoy Fortnite. Let him do all his lovely charity work that he does. Get on with it. Let him do other things. Pay him off, and that's it. Let's get on with our team.
Well said, mate. What do you reckon, Kenny?
So there's a conundrum there. Everyone's saying, a lot of people who are big fans and big supporters of our current manager is saying that he reminds them of George Graham in terms of his decisions on the pitch and off the pitch and who he selects and the demands he makes of his players. He's been promoted as a team manager from head coach. What people are saying is that he's got all these qualities that George Graham has had when he's our manager. The club have recognised his qualities by making him team manager. Yet but he's a puppet. He can't be one or the other. I think that Mesut Ozil has been left out of the side because Mesut Ozil's fallen out of love with football. Mesut Ozil can, show us pictures of him high-fiving his manager. He should show us pictures of him training hard. He can put as many stories on his Instagram. He can, do as many tweets as he likes. The fact that what he's looking to me now is just that he's just a victim of football. I think that a couple of months ago, maybe during a lockdown period, he was told by our manager that he's no longer part of his plans and that he's going to go in a different direction. And that if you want to stay, fine, but I won't be using you and you're free to go look for another club. People just think because he was playing at March, people seem to forget that we had a 3-month interlude from the West Ham game. Let's finish, cool. From the West Ham game to the June game. So within 3 months, Arteta's had 10 games left. That's enough time to think about his selection and where he's been going. He did choose Mesut Ozil in the games. In the games, he played in between the lines. He was still substituting him in every game. He didn't finish every game. He was substituting within the 65th minute, mainly because there was a tiredness issue, or like Burnley away, Burnley worked out and managed to cut off the spaces so he couldn't hit us between the lines. So he was substituted. So if Burnley are going to work us out, other teams are going to work us out. So in saying that, and then you look at what he's produced in the football club, people say, that he did this and that, but in terms of goal return and what he's in a team for his sakes is not very high. And if he's not part of the squad, you've got to remember one thing, right? Is that there's an expression in football that is still relevant today. If you're not in a team, then don't be a cloud. Now, Mick Arteta may feel that him and Matteo Guendouzi are clouds when they're not part around the team, when they're not playing. Hence the fact they're not in the squad. And not a thing. Remember, he was given permission to go to Turkey when we played the FA Cup final. Now he may not. I'm not saying he's going around causing trouble or not, but his mood when he's not playing could have an effect on the players. People don't. It's very easy to say, "Oh yeah, he refused to pay cut." He said, he's got views on Chinese Muslims, and he's had his photo taken with Erdogan. But let's not forget that everyone on this panel, maybe not so much as you, Claude, but me and Lee. Let's not forget the other fact. There is like I said, a food of thought or an opinion that Mesut Ozil hasn't been valued for money. He's been given chances by Unai Emery. Unai Emery's taken out the side because the way he was playing. And it's the same. It's the same thing with Mikel Arteta.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're getting. See, this is why.
But what you're saying is that he's not been left out for footballing reasons.
I agree with you. I agree he should be gone for football reasons as well. But I don't think it was Arteta's judgment that got him.
Why can't it be Arteta's judgment? He's the team manager. He's the team manager. You can say what you want. You can say whatever. If someone upstairs... Hang on. All right, you say that. Unai, but you say that. You say... that. All right, so what you're saying is that Unai Emery was sacked because he brought Mesut Ozil back in the team because he disobeyed he disobeyed the board's instructions, because they were saying the same thing with Unai Emery, that it was a board's decision. But Unai Emery, when results were going south, brought him back in the side. So
yeah, but Unai Emery didn't drop him completely, did he? Because he played him in the final.
Yeah, but he left him out as part of last season. And when we were struggling, he brought after the Liverpool game, he brought Mesut Ozil back to Unai Emery. So was it a board decision then, or was it Unai Emery's decision? Whose decision was it? Because
you're forget all that in the past. I'm talking about what's happened over the summer when he refused a pay cut, and I'm telling you now, because even Mertesacker actually come out and said it.
No, he hasn't. Mertesacker hasn't said it. He hasn't. But the thing is, he hasn't said that. What Mertesacker's done is that he's left it open to interpretation. What he's done is that he's mentioned the family, that he's had a kid and he's been married, and he said about how he played for him with 3 teams, Deutschland, Werder Bremen, and Arsenal, and also he's left it open to conjecture. The second part is maybe he's not for football reasons. But what people have done is that people like myself have probably gone part 1, where we talked about marriage, falling out of love with football, which I agree with, and other people who say, well, it's the board. So he hasn't said, he's basically hedged his bet, Mertesacker.
Well,
that's how it comes across to me.
Well, whether I mean, it's all a matter of opinion on this, because no one will ever know the real truth, and it will never come out anyway. What I will say, I think it's quite insulting to start comparing Arteta to George Graham.
100% agree.
But I'm not saying we've done that, but that's how the fans have done it.
2-0 against one of the greatest Liverpool teams ever. Against a man that what you saw on fucking Saturday, right, was absolutely clueless.
Did you see his comments after the game where he said, I was in that dressing room for 4 years at City, and what we've achieved here today was great.
Yeah.
What a wonderful loss.
We can't compare. Let's not compare
but what I'm saying,
George Graham wins, come back and have the chat.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they're talking about the decisions he's making and the demands he plays.
Yeah, with Charlie George, this is basically the Charlie George of now. Not Charlie George, fucking Charlie Nicholas. Sorry, this is basically the Charlie Nicholas of 2000.
But whatever happens, right, and whether it's a bosses or thing, manage. You know, when a player is no longer needed by the club, they are let down cruelly. We've had players. We had an England international goalkeeper who was told that if he didn't go to Man City, he'd be put in the 3rd team. We had
Adebayor the same. Adebayor was the same.
Yeah, exactly. Who was told that if he didn't leave, he'll go in reserves. But before that, we briefed against him, made that he was a money grabber, say that he wasn't trying to train, he didn't get with his teammates. So we basically put the narrative out in which the fans turn against him. So it happens in football. You look at Man United, I can name Keane, Beckham, Bruce, Robson, Stan, Ince, all players that, and like Jim Leighton, all players that when Sir Alex Ferguson didn't want them, he got rid of them brutally, publicly, and humiliated them.
King was gone just off of that interview we did on MUTV.
In football, these things happen. You know,
do you think though, Kenny, right? Because me personally, I think the board said to Unai Emery when he got the job, he's taking the piss. Like, we fucked up here. Yeah, we've allowed Gazidis. Because if you think about it, when Emery got that job, I think Gazidis was still there. Is that right? Or he may have just left.
He was just about to leave.
Yeah. So he called him out after the first ever game, Unai Emery's first ever game. He said he needs to work harder. Yeah. We went to Stamford Bridge. We were all there. We went to Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, it was awful.
That was one of he's had a fucking lot of shockers. That was one of his worst ever games, and he hooked him. West Ham was when he had the row with Emery and he stormed out the stadium the wrong way in the car park, and we didn't see him again for months, right? So this has been, people keep saying this is to do with his comments about the thing in China. It's to do with not taking a pay cut. It's to do with this. It's to do with that. Me personally, I think that they've realised, hold up, this motherfucker is on too much money, then all of these things have happened. Unai Emery, I think, was tasked with trying to get him out, but it was, if you want to play him, but it's up to you, but we'd rather you didn't. I think now it's got to Arteta. I think the same rules applied. He played him for 10 games. That his comments on China were before Arteta got the job. He's then not taken a pay cut. Yeah. That's then when I think the club have then stepped in and said, right, we're losing sponsorship deals on Pro Evo Soccer in Arsenal edition in China. Yeah. I don't know how much money that makes. Yeah. Or they're not streaming our games over there, whatever. But then he's not taken the pay cut as well. And I think the board have then stepped in because he did play him. He played him for 10 games. He actually played very well against United and Chelsea. Yeah. But I think the board then stepped in and said, right, Mikel, enough's enough. Fuck him. Yeah. So I do think that Mikel carried on playing him. But at the same time,
so you're now agreeing with me as the board?
No. I agree to it. No, I said this in the group. I agree to a certain extent. The board have had a say on it. But at the same time, if Mikel Arteta wanted to pick him, I still think he could pick him. Yeah. But I don't think Mikel Arteta is as stupid as he may look at times. Yeah. Because I think Mikel Arteta knows where his bread's buttered. Yeah. Ozil's gone in the summer. Why is he going to go against the club that are paying him £6 million a year by picking him? Yeah. Which could potentially fuck his job. Right. So it'd be easier to go with the board and go with the club and say, right, okay, I'm not picking him then. Because now Mikel Arteta's the little golden boy. He's doing as he's told. Whereas Unai Emery went against them to a certain degree by putting him back in the team. So,
yeah, but question. Can I just cut in? One question to ask you all. One thing to ask you all.
I said that in the group, though,
if you look at your first team, right? If you're picking your first team, right? Does Mesut Ozil get in your first team? I've never seen anyone.
No way.
And I've never seen anyone, right? I've never seen anyone on social media or maybe on a fan camp. And let's remember, right? And I want to sort of reiterate what I said to you, Claude, yesterday, what I said to you, Lee, a couple of weeks ago. That is, the fan cams of social media only cover about 0.9% of the fan base, by the way. They don't cover the other 99%. Might have a different opinion, but because we view it, we're going by those two vehicles. Plus, obviously, we're saying in any sort of private group chats you may have. Not one person has told me, and not one person has said that he should be in a team. I've had people say that maybe he could be in a bench, but no one has actually argued with his decision. When we lose, they argue that, oh yeah, we can do without creativity, but they never said he should start. They're talking about it in the bench, and that's the thing. Even people who maybe have loyalty towards Mesut and feel that, remember the Mesut of when he first signed the football club, the excitement he brought to the football club as well. They're not saying that Mesut Ozil should be in that team. They're kind of agreeing that Mesut Ozil, is circumstantial requirements.
David makes a great point. He said, either way, it's a fucking balls up.
Well, it's always going to be a balls up. But you know what I said? It's always going to be a balls up when you play players, big contracts at the 11th hour. You're playing chess. Man United at the 11th hour paid Alexis Sanchez a huge amount of money, and that hasn't been successful. Mesut Ozil hasn't been.
It's weird how it's gone, isn't it?
It hasn't been a relative success for us as well.
But he's starting to get back, and then Ozil's flopped since Alexis went as well.
But you look at them as well. We've basically broke our backs to offer Offer Aubameyang a massive contract to stay at the football club, so they keep him out of the clutches of other clubs. That we don't know where that's been successful. We know Aubameyang's a good player, and we know what he's done before, but we paid him that money so he can continue being successful.
That's what he's got. He's got ozolitis.
Well, I think
he needs some medication real quick.
I think the way we're playing doesn't like I said, help him from an offensive view. But it's a good argument to have. It's a good argument.
I will say, Kenny, maybe not the 11, but he's definitely good enough to be on the bench.
Yeah, but if you have him on the bench, then you're paying again. What is he going to be like around the dressing room? Is he going to be a cloud? Because you know, Dave,
he seems to have a good rapport with the players. I mean, you notice in the training sessions that he seems to be getting.
But Dave, that's one.
Yeah, but that's at training. Do you ever see Mesut Ozil out having dinner? I know he's got a family now with a daughter and his missus, his wife now. Do you ever see Mesut Ozil out in a restaurant with any of these players other than Matthew Flamini, ex-player? He's never out with the current squad having dinner with the current players. Is he that nice guy in the dressing room, or is he a complete swat?
We don't know.
All we
know is the expression in football: "Don't be a cloud," and that's the thing. It's the hardest thing in football right now is dealing with players who can't play, who you're not selecting.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
This goes back, and this is why I saw an interview with Wenger on the TV.
You just mentioned a swear word on this channel, by the
way. And he said that he left this club in a good state. Now he said, right now, I left the club in a good state, and I'm proud what I left the club in.
Wow.
And you see a player now. See this player.
What he's saying? He says that
he sanctioned this deal. He sanctioned the deal. Wenger that sanctioned all this, the deal for him to stay.
We cost us 60 million when we wanted Sanchez. When Man City offered us cash for 60 million for Sanchez, he opposed the deal, so he was in charge. But the thing is, right, is that he's not here no more.
Yeah, but when he comes on and says, "Oh, the state of the club is in now," he left the club in a great state.
He would say that, though. He would say that.
Yeah, but it's insulting.
Do you think he actually believes that, Claude?
No, he said that's what he said.
No, but do you think he believes it? Do you think he actually thinks in his head that he has?
No, I think he does. I think he does. And so I think all the people that support him do. All the people. The thing with Arsene. The thing with Arsene is that one thing that you knew that he wasn't had his ear to the ground is that when it was muted to him that there was discontent with his like I said, his service and his management. He said he was very surprised by that because he generally believed that there was adulation for him and the crowd, still had he still had credit in the back because of what he won, with Henry, Perez, Adams and all the players. It was a massive shock to him what happened, and even towards the end, if you look at his book, I haven't read his book, and I probably won't be. Have you noticed, Kenny, that he's not had a dig at anything on the board. He's not had said a go.
He's never mentioned any of the shit stuff. It's only
everyone was expecting. But what would you expect? What would you expect? Remember, Arsene has got this sort of a manner as a classy man. Who has this sort of
ask if she thinks he's classy, Kenny. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but that's his personal life, isn't it? You got.
I know. But that's the thing. But Kenny, let me ask you this, right? Yeah, because you're getting splinters right now, sitting on that fence, mate.
I'm blocking too right. It's painful as well.
Let me ask you this: was it classy of Arsenal to phone Liverpool up and bid 40 million and won? Come on, yeah. Was it classy? Yeah, was it classy, right? Was it classy, yeah, for him to sit there and allow Nicholas Bentner to have number 52 on the back of his shirt because he's on 52 grand a week? Yeah, no, come on. No. Exactly. Fuck Arsenal. Arsenal hasn't got any class, mate, yeah? It was all about the Benjamin baby.
Yeah, but the thing is, you remember, right? I never said he had class. Remember, I mentioned so sorry, but what's happened is that I mentioned instances and how he derivative players. You ask some of the players who won championships under Arsene Wenger how their time ended. They'll have a story to say. It was very ruthless.
But they're never. Yeah, but I said this the other day on the stream, right? Somebody said about Ronaldo said that Ozil he missed it and he was up in arms about Ozil when he left Madrid. I said, okay, that's great. Yeah. I said, do you think he gives a fuck when he's won 4 Champions League since? Yeah. Do you think he's sitting there going, oh, it's a shame Mesut wasn't here to share these with us? Yeah, because he never won one. As soon as he left, he won 4. When a player's interviewed in the media or an ex-manager in this and that, they're never going to sit there and slag off the guy. Yeah. So I can't remember, somebody else said something to me yesterday. I can't remember who they were talking about. And I said, well, come on, it's hardly going to sit there and say, no, actually, he was dog shit. Like, you know, oh, that was it. It was Pep. That was it. Pep. Pep was asked about Arteta as management, and he said Arsenal were in the title charge. Well, he's not going to sit there and say, no, they're a bunch of fucking lightweights.
No,
That's why we turn them over at the Etihad.
But if it's the same with Arsene's autobiography. His authorised biography, which is his biography. He'll write what he wants. I never expected it, and I'm not going to read it because I don't need to read it. I was there. I know what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But the situation is, I didn't expect him to talk about his last few days at the club. I didn't expect him to talk about, Jose Mourinho. He's well within his rights to talk about the success because that's what he's. Because I get that. But when we're all sitting there waiting for him to go, and he puts the book out, Kenny, you want the juicy bits, bruv. You want the dripping. It's not going to happen. Because you remember Clive Woodward when Clive Woodward did his autobiography when England won the World Cup. It was nothing juicy. It was all about how good he was as a coach for England, how good he was as a coach provided he got the England rugby job. And it's the same with Arsene Wenger. It was never going to be anything else. You've got to realise there's a big industry. I think someone says you haven't read this super chat, but there's a big industry. But there's a big industry in terms of Arsene Wenger. There's a lot of Arsenal fans who have got great admiration for Arsene Wenger. There's a lot of people in the media who've got a great admiration for Arsene Wenger. So his autobiography is going to cater for them. It's not for me and you, who had differences on footballing opinions with Arsene Wenger and wanted him replaced. We're not about that. As far as we're all three of us concerned, we can go forth and multiply. We're not Arsene Wenger fans. It's not for us. But he owes us nothing. You know what I mean?
No, he does owe us nothing. I agree with that. He owes us nothing.
Kenny, I remember people telling me, Kenny, right? Wait till his book comes out and he'll expose this board.
Never going to happen. Never going to happen. If you're going,
mate, he's probably had a fucking a fucking disclaimer that says he can't ever say anything. Because let's be real here. When
it's true.
Talking all of our best players, he was probably getting a percentage of the fucking profit. Yeah, hence why he kept selling them and blagging it that we were paying the stadium with it, which we weren't.
Responsible like the rest, because I keep hearing from our fans it wasn't his fault. It wasn't Wenger's fault. It wasn't Wenger's fault. We were in this.
It was the board he covered up for him. Like, he was taking the flack. Yeah.
Because he accepted it, so he was part of it at the end of the day.
Let me read this out real quick. Yeah. Big up Chris John. He says Arteta could be another puppet like Wenger. Well, listen, I think he already is, if I'm being honest. And then Gio as well. Thank you for your donation as well, mate. Appreciate that. He says Wenger was the problem. Look at Gazidis sticking to sponsorship deals at Milan, and Maldini is doing the recruiting and signing the players, and the club is awakening. Gazidis was just the scapegoat. Don't forget, they also have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who is the same age as me. And where did it all go wrong for me? Zlatan is quality. But that club is awakening again. And listen, people can sit there and quote off Gazidis. We all have. Yeah, we all have. He was part of the reason Arsenal fucked up for a long time, right? But don't ever get it twisted. The biggest problem at that football club is no longer here, and that is Arsene Wenger. Yeah?
100%.
Yeah, it was the biggest issue for me. He's gone. Gazidis was an issue. He's gone. Kroenke is an issue, but I don't think he's anywhere near as big of an issue as the two that have gone. Yeah. And I said that for a long time now. But listen, I am going to have to wrap this up, lads. As much as I love enjoying speaking to you. Oh, by the way, can I just say, Zach in the group chat is ripping you for your Bellerin and Xhaka in your starting 11.
In me.
Yeah. I keep saying to him, come on.
He's entitled to do that. He's entitled to do that. But the thing about it, right? He's entitled to do that. But the thing about
come on. Kenny, tell him he's a bottle job and get him to come on.
No, he's entitled to say. I'll be speaking to him again. But you've got to think of the bigger picture. I've given reasons why Granit Xhaka, to me, has improved since our problem with him in the Crystal Palace game last year, 27th of October. And I've always believed, and I still believe, that it was mostly the fans, and maybe 25% him in terms of reaction. But that's another discussion. In terms of Bellerin, people talk about Maitland-Niles. There's not much in it between Maitland-Niles and Bellerin in terms of what they can give the football club. They both got qualities, and they both got deficiencies as well. You know, maybe the issue is, or the solution is, to get a right back who's going to give us.
We should have gone and got Lamptey or Max Aarons.
We can still get Lamptey. He could still be available. You know, he's
go on, mate.
Chat there. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've read it, mate. I've read it. But listen, we are going to have to wrap this up. Thank you, Gio, for that super chat as well. Thank you for everyone who's watched live as well. That hour and 15 minutes. Kenny goes, I'll give you an hour. I say, we won't go an hour, Kenny. We've got an hour and 15. I am going to be back in about an hour with a watch along for Chelsea Sevilla. Sevilla, beautiful part of the world. If ever you get the chance to go to Sevilla, absolutely stunning city.
I wonder who lives there at the moment.
Games tonight.
No, he's in Villarreal. He's in Villarreal right now. But Unai Emery, Sevilla legend. But no, Sevilla is absolutely stunning. Not just the grounds. Betis is the Tottenham of that town. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah. It's on the outskirts of Sevilla. It's a bit run down. Obviously, they've got their new shiny stadium now, but before they had that shiny stadium, it was the Tottenham of Sevilla. Sevilla Stadium. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah, it's tinier than I thought. It's smaller than I thought it would be. But
are you going to take? When they allow fans back, you're going to take a game in. You're going to take it. Well, you could definitely get it taken. So they let fans in.
So soon as fans are allowed back in, yeah, trust me, right? If Arsenal get drawn against a Spanish team and fans are allowed, boom, I'm there. Whether I have to sit in the home end or not. Yeah, I've got enough about me with my Spaniel now, Kenny Cafola, and all of that one. Do you know what I'm saying?
One thing is that remember to wear a disguise, because there's a lot of people who are very upset with you.
Hey, I'll fly you out, Kenny. You're my bodyguard.
That guy, there's that big guy in Spain that lives in Spain. I forgot his name. He's after us, isn't he?
Oh, my mate from Marbella. Yeah,
his name now. The big gang.
Let's
I can handle
football.
myself. I'm 10.5 stones looking wet. And I'm all good, mate. But no, honestly, when the games come back and properly and fans are allowed in, yeah, I am going to go and do a couple of games out here. I want to do it. I've never been to Barcelona ever, let alone to their ground. I've never been. Yeah, I've been everywhere in Spain apart from Barcelona. So I do want to do an El Clasico, and I do want to go to Sevilla's ground because I went there with my missus. But we were outside it. We weren't actually in it. Like, it was just walking around. Beautiful little stadium, though. But Sevilla as a city, beautiful. If ever you get,
do they have like different accents? Do they have like different, sharper accents from the rest of Spain? I know it's Andalusia.
Yeah, it's more Spanish. It's more Spanish.
You're a tax dodger, by the way.
Yeah, tax dodger. You know.
No, yeah. So I know Andalusia. They speak like a very kind of rich vein of Spanish. As opposed
do you know what's funny? Because you have the Basque region, you have Catalan, yeah. But it's like our regions back home. You've got Newcastle, you've got Liverpool, you've got London. But even in London, South London, you can tell the difference from North London and East London. Yeah. You can tell the little region. It's the same here. I can't pick up on it because I've only lived here a year, and I've been here for probably 8 months of that, or 7 months of that because of lockdown, yeah? But my friend who lives in Sevilla, right, he runs a gym in Sevilla, yeah? Some guy, English guy, yeah? Right, and he's fluent in Spanish, but his Spanish is, I'm just sat there like, right, you can speak like that. But his missus is Welsh, yeah? Right, big up my boy Jolien and his missus, yeah? His missus, bruv, they're like that. They're speaking in Spanish to each other. They don't even speak English anymore. And I'm like, bruv, I need to speak like that. He goes, I said, what would you rate yourself out of 10 for your Spanish? He went about 5. He goes, my missus is probably an 8 or a 9. I was like, raw. And there's me on -1.
Yeah, but I think what it is, right, is that it's a beautiful country, but it's very divided country in terms of like ethnicity. Basque. They want their independence. Catalan have always wanted theirs. And you've got the Andalusians, and then
it's very political.
And you've got the Castilians, which cover Madrid, and you know, like the general Mark, you know, like, you know, the generals, you know, Spanish Civil War, they're the ones who control the country. And, you know, like Real Madrid is seen as the club of the ex-army, isn't it?
Yep. And the funny thing is, yeah, I've got Malaga just down the road. Yeah, Marbella, we ain't going there. We've got a stalker in Marbella, so we definitely can't go that way. Yeah, so we'll have to go that way to Malaga. Yeah, but Malaga, Sevilla's about 2-hour drive. Yeah. But then I can get a plane from Malaga to Barcelona, or I can get a train from there to Barcelona and to Madrid. Obviously, Betis is there. So when they're playing each other, I'd love to do that game, Betis or Sevilla against Betis or vice versa. That would be absolutely class.
So how big is Sevilla as a city? You got, it seems like
it's huge. Mate, it's absolutely huge. I went to this place. I can't remember what it's called, or somebody in the chat might be able to tell me. Yeah, but it's been in loads of films. Yeah, it was absolutely fucking stunning, mate. Yeah, and it had the gardens and all that around it. Yeah, it was like 13th century building.
Oh, right.
Yeah? And they had the flamenco dancers there. Yeah. And they're proper like stamping. The woman's proper stamping her feet on the and they're singing. Oh, mate, it was fucking. I love the old school Spanish. Yeah, my boy Jolien. Yeah, right. He took me to this tapas place. Yeah, mate, I swear to God, yeah, the food in that place was so cheap, and it was the best food you'll ever eat. Yeah, they're coming out with kangaroo and fucking like emu and shit. There, I'm just like, raw, and it's like €3 for a big plate of food. It was mad. I fucking love Spain, man. That's why I moved here. But listen, guys, thank you very much. A couple of people in the chat have asked when we're going to do this again. We are going to be doing this every fortnight going forward. We need to sit down and work dates out, obviously around work and stuff like that, and around football. Obviously, Arsenal play. Kenny does his updates on Instagram. Kenny Ken 1972. I've been enjoying them, Kenny. You need to hold the camera up a little bit better, though.
It's you know, it's just a laugh, isn't it?
I don't mind doing this every week after the round-up of games, if you want. I don't mind doing that.
You can come on whenever you want, both of you, man. You're always welcome on. Yeah, always welcome on. Anytime you want. Bruv, we're all in the text chat. Just text whenever, man. I'll always invite you guys on.
Guys, if I carry on here, I won't be able to do my updates of the match because I'll run out of battery.
Yeah, go on. I need to build a thumbnail and set a stream up. So, yeah, I'm off. Claude, go and follow Claude.
I love you very much. You know the good thing about it, right, is that I've only just noticed it since we actually, people just assume that we're like three people in a pod. We've actually got really, really different views.
Yeah, come on. I don't think this group chat pops off. Can you imagine we get Zach on here?
Yeah, but I didn't realise that, you know, in terms of like the Ozil thing was
Arteta lovers. Right, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realise that we had different views on Ozil and Aubameyang. I didn't realise until today. It's good when you have a chat that you actually realise that we have different views. We don't agree on everything. That which is a debate.
Yeah, and guess what?
You two love Arteta, I don't. That's it.
Or anything
I wanted someone else as the coach, but you know what I'm trying to do is that, in the interest of fairness, I'm going to try and understand what he's trying to do, and I can kind of see what he's trying to do. But we're not the finished article under him. That's all, and I don't know where we're going to be. But you know,
right. Thank you very much, Kenny.
I got slaughtered. I wanted Jose. I got slaughtered. Too bad.
I wanted Jose. We all want Jose. We all got slaughtered. Not just you. I got Jose. I get slaughtered all the time for wanting Jose. Anyway,
and all three of us wanted Jose. We all wanted Ancelotti. Yeah, I think
Ancelotti.
Yeah,
I mean he's another great.
Yeah, but you know.
But no, listen, I need to go, man. I've got literally 49 minutes to set a stream up and build a thumbnail and everything.
I'll see you guys soon. See ya.
Love to you both, man. Take care. Thank you to everyone who watched live. Smash the likes up. And thank you to everyone who watched live. Appreciate that.